supported on that basis.
Call Mike Sabin.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'll take a short call just to round off this particular debate. And can I just firstly say, and I want to touch on these points, I reject the notion that this activity is already provided for in legislation. This explicitly provides in legislation the aggravating factors to these particular people, and I think that is a good thing. And in terms of the deterrent, which I'll come back to, I also think it will have a deterrent effect, and I can certainly regale a situation that involved myself that would allude to that. I joined the police in the mid-90s. On the same day, actually, my brother joined the New Zealand Fire Service. He's still a serving firefighter, and I resigned from the police in 2008. Spent time, obviously, as a frontline police officer, as all sworn officers will do. Then became a detective and worked particularly in the drug area, and saw the growth of methamphetamine, and with that actually saw an amazing increase in violent crimes and indeed assaults against police. And drivers of crime have been touched on, Mr Speaker. This bill is not necessarily going to do anything about that, but it is another tool in the armoury, if you like, in terms of the many approaches that are required. As a serving police officer, Mr Speaker, to name a few, I was punched, kicked, spat at, bitten, assaulted with weapons, cut with a knife, had a gun pointed at me. I was hit on a couple of occasions by full bottles over the head when I was working in team policing. Unfortunately, I got to a point where it just became something I accepted as a police officer, that you would be assaulted, or I would be assaulted, sorry, Mr Speaker, and the impact of this was just something you had to suck up. I also worked with other serving police officers who had their arms broken, broken jaw, beaten unconscious, stabbed, shot, run down and one run over, Mr Speaker, and on numerous occasions there were other incidents which wouldn't even be, charges wouldn't even be laid. Mr Speaker, the thing that I noticed as an individual, as a police officer, when I was assaulted, is the times that the charges were actually laid. I cannot remember a single time when there was additional penalty applied in the sentencing process. And in fact, on one occasion I recall an incident where a man violent with a knife wouldn't leave his car. Dogs, batons and sprays didn't do that. I effected entry through a window with a baton. He was wielding a knife. I held his knife hand off, was bitten in the arm, and at sentencing, actually the charges were dismissed, and at sentencing the judge made the comment that that's the sort of thing that goes with the territory of being a police officer, and it's just what you need to get used to, what a police officer needs to get used to, and I reject that. I believe, Mr Speaker, that swiftness and certainty play a huge role in deterrence, and that is that the quicker an apprehension can be made and the more certain a consequence will be applied has a significant effect in deterrence. I'd also like to add that with regard to the role of this sending a message to the community, sending a message to police that we back them, sending a message to offenders. They're not all at the hardest scale and end of the offences, but certainly there are many who will stop short and think, well, if I clock this guy, then that's going to be an extra black mark against my name. Certainly, in my experience, this has already applied significantly with emergency services such as ambulance and fire, but less frequently, far less frequently with serving police officers. Mr Speaker, I commend the Minister for this bill, the other work that she has done, both as Justice and Police Minister. This Minister was a very, very popular Minister of Police and has restored much to the spirit, the heart and the morale of that service, and they are in good heart now. Mr Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.
Members, this debate has concluded. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes. Party votes. Well, okay, party votes called for. I ask the clerk to do a party vote. If the member The member must vote against it at the time. There was no one who voted against it at the time. That's why I said that the ayes had it. Now, is the member wishing to cast a party vote? Yes. And the member is voting against this bill?
A proxy vote on behalf of the Mana Party who are voting against it.
Okay, party vote's called for. Ask the clerk to conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 in favour.
New Zealand First.
8 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
3 votes opposed.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Members, the ayes are 117, the noes are 4. The motion is agreed to.
Sentencing Aggravating Factors Amendment Bill, third reading.
Call on Government Order of the Day number 4.
Jury